I have an opinion, guys. Boy, as you know, lately there has been some issues going on in my home state of Michigan, and it's not looking good. You know, at first I thought it was just a crappy winter, and unfortunately, some people died because of the tornado going on. And there was also some other stuff. But before I get into that, just know the tornado situation is being dealt with. It was nearby where I used to live, you know. And I have some friends who live over there, so, been checking them out. But also, some synagogues have been attacked. Okay? And some of these people who are ramming into it have either been related or are in some way related to Iran. Now, I don't know if this has to do with the war or if it's just people who saw something Iran said or whatever and just decided, you know what, I'm going to ram into a synagogue. But it's not good. This anti-Semitic sentiment, this dealing, it makes the Jewish community feel afraid. It makes the Goyim communities feel afraid. And it makes, your non-Jewish, your non-Goyim fellow afraid as well, And it's very hard to express how I feel right now, and on top of having a shitty government, Detroit, those two things, and crazy geography and crazy animals and crazy plants and stuff. Oh yeah, conveniently you have to deal with terrorists who want to bomb your country. And on top of that, you deal with sleeper agents, whoever the fuck, come and go and say, it's time. And then all of a sudden, all those allies, all those friendlies turn against you. All for some nation that's in the war with itself and in the Middle East. You would think that they would take all those agents and put themselves back in, Iran for just in case. But no. They had to go invade, probably threaten to bomb California and fuck around with Michigan. But I think what it is there's a place called Dearborn, and there's a lot of, what do you call them, Shia or Sunni Muslims over there, and they cabal over who's more Muslim. It's the most Islamic town in the entire country. That's right. Not just that area or that county or state or region. No. The entire country. Maybe even the continent. Okay? Where the majority are privately and publicly practicing Muslims. They're Islamic. They come from cultures that, would make more sense to be over there, but for whatever reason they came here. Now, I'm not saying that if you're a Muslim, you can't be living in the Middle East. No, you can be a Muslim and live in the Middle East, okay? It's just, like, what does Dearborn have to do with your Muslimness, your Islamicness, if that makes sense? Like, that don't really have to do with correlate with anything. I don't know why he had to invade that town, basically. You know, I'm not saying that to the first generation, but like third, fourth generation, yeah, no, fuck no. And I think what it is they probably have sleeper agents over there. And so I think because they know this, they think, how can we take these useful idiots and switch them onto theirs to our side, and then maybe kill the ones off that don't agree with everything we say. Like, bro, it's a genuinely serious issue right now. And you might think to yourself, yeah, I'm talking to you in a foreign country. Yeah, you thinking you're safe. You're not. You're not. You could be next. They bombed like 13, 20 different countries. Okay? No, wait. 23. And you have to know something. These Iranians, or even your own government, you gotta pay attention to them. Okay? Even if it's just the occasional, like, you don't really care about politics, like, fuck politics kind of individual. You at least gotta pay attention to it for at least just in case, okay? I'm not saying you have to pay attention to every single little thing. Just, you know, some of the major stuff or most of the major stuff, you know, that affects you or your area, you know, that kind of thing, or could affect you. But you don't have to completely get consumed by it. But what I am saying is just at least somewhat pay attention to it, you know? So that way you can be aware about what's going on in the world, you know? So that way, you can probably learn from it and not have to worry about it where you live, but no guarantees. So always be pre-prepared, you know? Because you never know when a terrorist decides to go, how about we invade this country? How about we you see this country that has nothing to do with us? Yeah, let's just bomb them, you know? Because we don't agree with their alignment because this or that thing we saw at one time. Or, oh, they just so happen to exist, you know? Conveniently, you know? Like your friends, your relatives could become your enemies or not. You know, they could always stay your ally. They could always stay your friends or family. But it's more of a just-in-case kind of thing rather than their absolute enemy or something like that. No. Because then you're no better than those terrorists, you know? But I'm not saying that those attacks were done necessarily by terrorists. But I did say earlier, it could be possibly, you know, that could be the motive. That seems to be the answer, but I guarantee it could be literally anything. It could have just been a drunk driver or whatever. But given the current society and given the current state, time of recording, which is on the day that this video was released on, I can't guarantee what will happen next. Okay? I don't. Just after this video, give yourself some time to think, okay? To think about things. Whatever it may be, however it may be, give yourself time. Alright? Time to think. Just think about all of this and then make your decision. Anyway, that's all I got for now. So, I'm gonna go prepare to do some stuff for just in case. I'm not saying I'm gonna have to do it, but you know, it's a just in case. Anyway, I'm out of here. Bye.